What's going on, fellow troops? My name is Xavvo and welcome back to a brand new video. So this year we have exciting news for Black Ops 6, the upcoming release for this year in Call of Duty. And I know you've probably heard a lot of this information already 100 times about everybody, and their dog has said it already, but I am going to explain this, especially if you're new to this and you've still not heard any of this news and you're hearing it here first, then that's awesome. But yeah, I just want to really talk about why I think Black Ops 6 is going to be the best Call of Duty in recent years by far. And I know I made a video like this before, and it was like last year, about why Modern Warfare 3 would be the best Call of Duty, and I was not wrong. It has genuinely been received as one of the best Call of Duties in recent years. It's probably done the best with fan service and just, you know, bringing about a whole rounded game. Of course, we can argue that campaign-wise, that was complete garbage, and Zombies was a hit or miss. So it wasn't the best overall, and some people would even argue that Black Ops Cold War was a better, fully polished, rounded game than Modern Warfare 3 was, even at its start. But that's not exactly true. Obviously, we've seen that a lot of these games, especially Cold War, dropped with significant numbers of bugs, significant numbers of just groundbreaking issues, and it took a while to patch it, and the game did take a long time to be fully rounded out and full of content. So we can't exactly ignore that about Cold War. But what I will say is this year's game is definitely going to take the cake. I think this one's going to be better than both of those two. There's a lot going on for this year's release. So let's just talk about and break down each individual thing that I'm excited to see coming to this game. And you've probably heard a lot of these already. The very first thing that's returning to this game is the classic prestige system. If you guys don't remember, actually, I complained about this a few months ago on this channel. I made a whole video talking about how I wanted the classic prestige system back in Call of Duty, because whilst I have not played really that many Call of Duty games in my time, I have at least played 2 Call of Duty games where the classic prestige system was there, and that was COD World War 2 and Black Ops 4. And in those 2 games, I absolutely loved the way the system worked. It made the most sense to me. It was the most enjoyable to do your leveling. It gave leveling a purpose. It gave you a purpose to prestige because there was a reset and you got everything relocked and you had to work through those 55 levels again. But what I absolutely disliked was when, you know, Modern Warfare 2019 came out, we had this grand new seasonal prestige system where each season you get a new set of prestiges, and by the end of the season, it locks. There's a cap to how many prestiges you can do in a season, and there wasn't really much value to leveling because it became pointless, especially when Cold War came out and they started implementing this ridiculous number of levels where it was like you're prestige 15, but it wouldn't show anyone that, and instead it would just say you're level 256 or level 795. We've had this system for basically the last 5 years, and it is complete garbage, and I've been complaining about this. I made that video, and lo and behold, this year's game now has the classic prestige system. I honestly feel like they're just listening to small creators like me, because that is just kind of bizarre that a lot of the things I've complained about happen to be coming true with this game. Obviously, I know it's a widely complained thing, but at the time of me making that video, I don't think there was that many YouTubers making complaints about the prestige system in videos. So I think it's really, really exciting to see that we're having the return to classic prestige, where every 55 levels you have the option to enter prestige, and when you do, it resets everything. You get a new icon, and there's also this ability where if you've got everything locked, over time you will be rewarded with like prestige tokens. I don't know if Cold War did it differently with keys, and they just allowed it so that when you had a certain number of keys for each prestige, you could go to a prestige shop and claim a bunch of prestige rewards. That was really cool, and I'm thinking they probably will bring that feature back for this year's Black Ops game. But what I really like about a lot of the older prestige systems in other Call of Duties was you had tokens where each prestige, you got a number of tokens, and you could claim to unlock an item before you actually got it for a head start. So if you wanted to permanently unlock, let's say, a certain weapon that would unlock if you got to level 23, you would always have that gun, especially straight off rip, without having to get to level 23 and getting it. So this token system allowed you to basically cheat some of those levels, so you didn't have to actually wait and get them at those levels. But it was such a much more preferred system. It worked better, it was more fun, and it gave you this reset. And obviously, once you got about 10 or 11 prestiges, there was the Prestige Master, which had another additional 1,000 levels on that Prestige Master. So all the other ones were 55 levels, and this one had an extreme number of levels you could do for it. And it was just, you knew who was good at the game. It made you want to play and do better and to prestige master like they were, because you just noticed how cool it made them look and how high level they were and how much they achieved from getting that prestige master. It was like you were mastering leveling, and it felt fun. And the seasonal prestige system genuinely killed the game. I think it made prestige grinding completely useless and unfun. So the fact that we have this return to classic prestige alone is awesome. This alone is something that we don't have in Modern Warfare 3, and Modern Warfare 3 is an amazing game. This year's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is amazing. So the fact that we're going to get a game now that has this feature returning, I think alone makes it far better. Of course, we also have a return to the typical, so like the movement and stuff like that we had in Modern Warfare 3. So I don't know if exactly we have slide cancelling. Not that slide cancelling is really there in Modern Warfare 3. It's kind of got its quirk to it. It's kind of more like a half slide cancel. But I feel like we're still having that movement feature in this year's game. So that's still going to be there. We're going to have the fast-paced gameplay, which again is absolutely loved inside of the Call of Duty franchise. Any game that's more arcadey and fast is guaranteed to do more numbers and to just be better all across the board to the community. So I think the fact that we're having that just staying in there is awesome. I believe off-rip, we're having about 12, I think, off-rip that are like traditional maps, you know, standard. And I think we've got a few that are already 2v2 and stuff like that, a bunch of small maps. So that's going to mean that we can now play gunfight and stuff off-rip. So the game's going to launch with gunfight and, you know, like gun game, that kind of stuff. Like smaller versions of game modes. There's the little party modes and stuff. They are absolutely loved as well in Call of Duty. And we can also guarantee that there's going to be just a lot gunsmith, all that's going to be really smoothly polished, and it's going to be nice like before. Obviously we still get like the 5 typical attachments with an additional 3, which means we can get up to 8 attachments per weapon, so that's awesome. We're going to see the return of wildcards coming back to this game, and for anyone who doesn't know this, who's new to COD, they grant you the ability to add or change certain things on your class setup. It changes the rules of your class setup, so it basically acts similar to vests in a way in Modern Warfare 3, but more nuanced and more interesting. Modern Warfare 3's vest system might take off certain things like gears and boots and gloves, or maybe switch up certain things, but this is much more unique, and wildcards are something that we have loved over the years in the Black Ops games, so that is awesome that we're going to see those return. I believe Nuketown should also be coming to this game again, and you guys, we love Nuketown. I can't exactly say when that's coming in. There's not been any actual mention of it inside of any of these trailers, but we can probably assume it's going to come in mid-season 0, or it'll come into the season 1 update. So we're going to have Nuketown return. I'm almost certain of it, and yeah, it's looking really good. But now we're going to get onto some of the more bigger topics. We've also got the return of round-based zombies, and that is something, again, I have complained about so much on this channel, and whilst I have definitely learned to love the open-world experience of Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, you cannot lie that Zombies was just better when it was round-based. It was more fun. You had to go through each round as it got progressively harder with more and more zombies spawning in each wave, and it was just a fun, traditional way of playing zombies. And ever since we went to this whole open-world feature with, like, Call of Duty Vanguard and Modern Warfare 3, and of course we had Outbreak in Cold War, it's kind of been a downhill slope for zombies. It's kind of killed the community. It's kind of killed the fun. There's obviously still like Easter eggs and storyline, but it's really not as focused and not as consumable, I think, for people who just prefer playing in the round-based sort of system. Because it's an open world where it's on a large-scale map, there is not a lot of ease to where you're looking for things or doing things. There's not really much of a feeling for you to engage with these storylines and stuff, because you're not really being confined to a normal sized kind of zombie map where there's rounds and everything is kind of more in front of you. With an open world map, it's more like you're playing in a Warzone experience, and everything just takes so long to get across the map to find, and there's not really many zombies spawning in, so the whole thing is just not very fun to play in the first place. So I can't imagine a lot of people are doing the storylines, and even if they are, it's probably the one thing keeping the open world experience going aside the camo grind. So I think we definitely are, you know, going to benefit more than anything from seeing round-based return. I know we had like 1 or 2 round-based games that were thrown into Vanguard later into the game because of the complaints, but at the end of the day, Vanguard Zombies was an atrocity. Modern Warfare 3 Zombies was pretty mediocre. It's alright. I'm still enjoying doing it for like the Borealis grind, but I probably won't touch it after that. And as far as Cold War, that's the last time I had any form of fun with a zombies game, and I'm just hoping that we don't have a repeat of Black Ops Cold War Zombies, getting all of your perks, all your pack-a-punches, and then sitting in a corner for 50 rounds with nothing else to do. I hope this year that there's still a lot going on that can keep you engaged and everything kind of feels more difficult, and that there's like a balancing where, you know, a certain number of perks can be met before there's a cap or a limit where you have to think about which ones you need. I think that would be great, but honestly, I can't see them doing that. I kind of feel like as far as zombies goes, they're just going to kind of keep it in the same format as Cold War, Modern Warfare 3, you know, just there's no limits to perks and everything is kind of free-flowing and, you know, that kind of thing with all the crafting and other features like that. And don't get me wrong, the crafting feature is awesome in Zombies, but I want to see more of a classic return to Zombies aside the round base. But that aside, that is awesome news. We're going to have like 2 round-based maps, I believe, offer it for this, so that's really cool. I believe it's 2. Don't mark my words, but there's definitely round-based returning to Zombies for Black Ops 6. And then on top of that, we've got this new feature called omnidirectional movement. So omnidirectional movement actually is going to bring a whole new way of moving to Call of Duty that we've never seen before. This allows you to basically dive left, right, forward, backwards. You can basically like turn your body 4 different directions, 360 directions, whilst you're prone, or when you're lying on the floor. It just sounds insane. Like if you've seen the breakdown of the omnidirectional movement, it'll probably be slotted in between each of these sections as I talk about them. It's absolutely insane. Like, we're going to be able to move in ways we've never moved before. I'm not even sure if they will say that we can turn our torso whilst our legs are still walking forward, because that would be really cool if we can do that with omnidirectional movement. I'm going to assume that that is a thing, but yeah, that would be really cool as well, because that is obviously how people can be in real life. We can walk one way and kind of turn and lock a different way as we're walking in a different direction, but apparently you can sort of sprint forward, backwards, left, right. I don't really know how that works per se, sprinting backwards. I don't think you can really sprint backwards. I know you can kind of like fast walk or sort of semi-run backwards if you try to, so I guess that's what they're going for. But it sounds like we're going to be able to basically dive and jump and move and prone and turn in all different ways that we've never seen in Call of Duty, which is going to allow for a much more fluid looking movement with our character. It's going to look more realistic, and I think it's going to honestly make the game feel so good that when we come back to older CODs, we're going to be like, holy shit, like how confined with our movement were we? Like we can barely turn, we're like a stiff robot. That is definitely going to have a huge effect on how we perceive other games because of just how crazy the movement's going to be in this game. And that's not the only thing about movement. Apparently we've got intelligent movement. So this is a new feature that you can sort of enable inside of your settings if you're one of those players who wants to go for more simple automatic features where they don't have to engage as much. So if there's like a wall, if you're walking towards it, it will know how to mantle over that and to slide under certain things. And the basics of this intelligent movement is sprint assist, mantle assist, and crouch assist. So they are going to be features you can toggle on and off inside of the settings individually. And also there's another sort of feature regarding movement, and it's basically like world connectivity. So essentially you're going to have like kind of corner cutting and other sorts of dynamic movements where you're inside of the game, and if you're interacting around a corner slowly, it will do kind of a tactical turn as you come through around a door or certain little things like that. There is going to be more dynamic interactions with the world around you inside this game that will basically make it feel more realistic. Another super cool thing about this game is going to be the fidelity. They are going out of their way to make sure that there is very fine detail to like the sweat, the dirt, the everything that you'll see on the player's hands and all this kind of stuff. I don't know if it says as well that there's going to be visible sweat that can run down your character's hands. There's going to be the gloss and the shine and the effects to every single thing that looks really realistic and fine to every single situation you're in. So after running or engaging in a certain type of map, but it sounds really, really wide with how the fidelity is going to be this game, how realistic it's going to be, and I would hope that, obviously considering this game is a 4-year development game, that should be noted as well. This game's had the most development time out of any Call of Duty by far. It's not going to be some knockoff DLC game like Modern Warfare 3 where it was released as a full release game when it was actually just a Modern Warfare 2 DLC. Instead, we're going to get a full 4-year release game, which sounds awesome. 4 years of development with this fine attention to fidelity and graphics. I would hope that that should be done, so it's good to hear that that's going to be the case. So it's sounding like graphically it's going to be very intricate, and they're going to make things look super smooth, super polished, and super detailed depending on certain scenarios of the game. And the other thing that is so cool about this game is the return theater mode. I don't know why they've been taking it out over these years. I think maybe it's because it caused a lot of game lagging and crashing, and there was not a high enough demand for it. A lot of people weren't really using the feature when it took so much time to create. So I honestly have to say, please guys, use theater mode. We've spent all this time asking for it back in the game. Please use it. It is so useful, especially for content creators and even for just people who want to recap their game and see what happened, or see certain things that they missed and to learn and pick up on new skills that they might have need to learn off other players. They can replay that match and see through it in different events. They can look at it from different players' perspectives and see how they interact with the games. And it's useful for content creators because we can use it to essentially screen record games that we might have missed. So let's say we didn't record a video whilst we were playing in a game and we played a really good match. Well, we can boot up theater mode, go into first person, and make it look as if it was literally us playing the game again and record the screen. We can also do fancy things like cinematics, like zooming through maps or looking at certain things or panning around characters and all sorts of stuff. It can be used to make very cinematic movie styled stuff, which can be useful especially for creating videos, because I used to do this with like the whole montage scene when I was making montages for YouTube. The theater mode feature was really useful, and custom games really can't do a lot with the whole Codcaster feature. It's very limited. Codcaster won't allow you to replay modes or pan around characters. It only lets you basically go into a game as a camera and just zoom around the map, which is similar but really doesn't work the same way and doesn't have the replay and the slowdown and all the stuff that theater mode provides you. So the fact that we're getting that back is absolutely awesome. I am so excited that we're actually having this back for Call of Duty. We've not seen it since, I think, Cold War or Black Ops 4. So honestly, Treyarch coming in with a big W once again, bringing in things that people really, really want back. The campaign is going to be fully fleshed as well, with lots of intricate features like the safe room, so the safe house feature that we had in Cold War, we're going to have that return. Now, I never played Cold War's campaign, but that is something I thought was super cool about it, that there was always a safe spot that you could return to, and there was little Easter eggs and little things you could learn and pick up about that safe house and the people in it and how people interact. There was just something so cool about that, and having the whole planning board and having the choices of different ways of playing the campaign. Now, that was something I didn't like when I looked at that game, which is kind of what put me off playing the campaign. But when you really look at it, they have changed it so that you can play the campaign in multiple different ways, and they can all really affect the story and the outcomes and all that kind of stuff. So the campaign, to me, is sounding like it's going to be extremely detailed, multiple different paths that can go from any single part of the campaign mission. Excuse me, guys, I've just choked my guts out. I've been talking way too long, so sorry if it looks like I've been tearing up. But what was I saying? They've really delved into the details, and they've tried to make this campaign as complex as possible, but as also story detailed. And of course, there's the whole theme of the Gulf War. It feels very, Cold War-esque. It's very, cryptic and very interesting and deep and dark. And that is something we needed to return to COD. We needed that advanced, deep storytelling. So at least this year, we're going to have a fully fleshed campaign and not some half-assed, shitty excuse of a campaign that we had with Modern Warfare 3. We're going to have a fully rounded multiplayer, fully rounded zombies, fully rounded campaign. It's sounding like a fully rounded game overall. It's going to be really detailed and interesting.
Hit zones are regions on a character that react when taking damage or dying.
And one more thing that I thought was super cool from the kind of Black Ops 6 Direct breakdown was the hit zones. As far as like characters and killing players in game, there's going to be now 9 regions on a character's body that are called hit zones, right? So in other games, there's only been 4, which is kind of like this arm, upper body, lower body. This time there's going to be 9, and they're all interactive based on where you shoot or hit a player. If you hit a player in this side of the arm, it'll affect how the player flies or turns or falls or dies. It'll affect how much damage is taken, I'm pretty sure. So there's going to be certain hit boxes depending on the region of the body. I mean, 9 hit zones compared to 4 is huge. Like, that is a lot of detail that's going to be going into killing players and how they're animated and how they fall. Like, the ragdoll physics for this game is looking crazy. So that is going to be my general breakdown of this game so far. Hopefully I didn't miss anything, but this is just all the reasons I found why this game is going to be the best Call of Duty. By far, the most detailed, the most interesting, the best looking. It's just going to be super, super fun. I've seen so many trailers, so many teasers, and so many stuff just coming out all at once on Instagram, on YouTube, from Twitter posts as well here and there. It's looking insane. Like, this game is going to be huge, and again, having 4 years of development behind this game is unheard of. That is the most development time we've seen on a COD game by far, and it's looking to be a great year for Call of Duty. So I am super excited. I don't know about you guys, but I really do look forward to this game. Of course, we're still going to enjoy Modern Warfare 3 while we have it, because it's probably the best one we've had so far until this one takes its place, of course. But yeah, that's Black Ops 6. That's everything that you kind of need to know generally. For anyone who hasn't heard of it and you've heard it here first, then thank you for watching my video, and be sure to drop a like, drop a comment, and be sure to check out all the links down below in the description. But with that being said, thank you everyone for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye, guys.